going on, Orlando Magic fans? This is Sam with the Six Man Show Postgame Live presented by Thrivent. Tough loss tonight. Your Orlando Magic lose to the Boston Celtics 111-107 in a game, if I'm going to be completely honest, completely defined by the inability of the Orlando Magic to make open three-point shots and the Celtics role players to make three-point shots exactly when they needed to make them. It was a frustrating game. We're going to get to you guys' comments. We're going to get to you guys' questions. We're going to get to any super chats that you guys might have tonight. But we're just going to talk over the game, just talk over your guys' thoughts, your guys' opinions. It just really sucks because at this point in the year, you thought that you were going to go 7-3, possibly 8-2 in these opening 10 games, and you're 4-6. You've already got 6 losses on the schedule, which a lot of us really didn't see happening up to this point. So enough of my thoughts. I want to go ahead and get to your guys' thoughts. I know we got a lot of comments to get to. So before we do anything, I want to make sure that we get to our sponsor for the show, and that is Marc.Abraham with Thrivent. Marc.Abraham is not just a financial advisor with Thrivent. He's a huge, diehard Orlando Magic fan. He has season tickets in Section 118. As a financial advisor, he specializes in a lot, retirement planning, budgeting, saving, debt elimination, all sorts of things. Most of the stuff you think about when you think about financial advising, Marc.Abraham can help you out. So as a Magic fan with another Magic fan, if you are looking to figure things out with your finances and you don't really know where to start, go ahead, give him a call. His number is 407-366-4364. That is 407-366-4364. His email is both on the screen right here and in the description below. Please reach out. He'd love to hear from you. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into the comments. I don't really have a lot to say about this game. It was just frustrating, and I'm sure that most of you guys' comments are going to hit on a lot of the stuff that I would hit on anyway. So let's go ahead and dive into what a lot of you guys have to say. Let's start out with this one from Matthew Thomas, 8221. Why did Bane only shoot one freaking three-pointer? It was about halfway through the fourth quarter when I was thinking to myself the same thing. I was like, why are we not – we traded 2 players and 4 first-round picks for this guy, and – he's either not shooting threes when he has a pretty good look, or head faking and then driving in, or he's just not getting into position whatsoever. Just really seems like he is struggling to find his place in the offense, and it's really just doesn't seem like the offense is doing anything to get him good looks. It doesn't seem like we're running any sets for him, and he just looks very disjointed, very frustrated. Completely understand everyone's frustration with that, because Desmond Bane, we thought he was going to be shooting 7, 8, 9, 10 three-pointers a game. He shoots 1. In a game like this, when we had, we'll pull it up later, but I'm pretty sure we had Anthony Black shoot 4 three-pointers. We had Ben Caro shoot 5 three-pointers. There's no reason why Black and Paolo should be shooting 9 threes in a game and Bane should be shooting 1. There's no outcome in which that's the case, unless Bane shot a 3 in the first couple minutes of the game and then was injured for the rest of the night. We just got in a super chat from Jalen Lawson. Before everyone goes back to the sky is falling, we look a lot better than last week. If JB misses a shot, he should have missed. We win. Progress is being made. I will say, from the last post game that I did, the defense is there. I appreciate that this team has taken a step back and has said, we are a defensive team primarily, so let's focus on our defense. And it seems like we are back to actually taking pride on the defensive side of the ball, which is where a lot of this needs to come from. Now, that's not to say that the offense is where it needs to be yet. Again, Bane shooting 1 three-pointer, Paolo shooting 5 three-pointers, Wagner going 5 of 17 from the field. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of stuff to not be too happy about tonight. But yes, I completely agree with you. I'm not on fire Mose, fire everyone, get rid of blah, 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 blah. Yes, we should be frustrated because we're starting 4-6, but 2 things can also be true in that we also have a couple of things that, yes, we do look a lot better than we did last week against Detroit, and we can take some positives from that. So getting back to the other comments here. Let's see. Another comment about not a single play was run tonight to get Bane open on the 3. And I guess these are a lot of comments still coming in during the game. Magic don't have a center. Let's talk about that. Goga has not looked good. Goga has spurts where he looks good. Like, I'd say probably 20% of his playtime we kind of get tricked into thinking that Goga might be good for us because he makes one or two really good defensive plays, but then he's just gone. And he doesn't contest shots. He doesn't use his length. He just swats down on guys' hands and sometimes hits the ball and sometimes gets called for a foul. His body language really hasn't been there this year. It doesn't look like he's really interested. I don't know if we're back to the Goga dilemma where he just doesn't want to be playing off the bench, so he just acts like he doesn't want to be playing off the bench, and he's just waiting for Wendell to get hurt so that he can be, a top 10 starting center in the league. I don't know what that is, but yeah, the center position with the amount of points that Keita and Garza were scoring, and some of the putbacks and some of the lack of box outs were huge problems down the stretch in this game, for sure. Kevin says here, I'm convinced Paolo could play like he did in the fourth every night, but he just doesn't give the effort. I mentioned something already tonight, and I'm going to say it again, body language. I have been big on if Paolo Banchero wants to be a top 10 player in this league, he needs to start acting like one. And I'm not talking about the Shea, Giannis, drive, get fouled, complaint. Sorry, not Giannis as much as like Shea and Luka, right? Like, not talking about like acting like he demands like these foul calls, which I would argue he doesn't get the whistle any of those guys get, which can be frustrating for him. But he allows the frustration to win every single time. And it's really frustrating because we need him to step up and be a leader for this team, and he's just not there. Like, I feel like Jalen is the heartbeat of the team. Franz is the heartbeat of the team. Even when Paolo has a big play, it doesn't necessarily seem like it's about the momentum of the team. It just seems like he made a big play in that moment. And I think he's really struggling with figuring out what leadership looks like from his perspective, and we need to see that from him if we are going to improve the way that we need to. We got another super chat here. Let's see. I'm honestly tired, boss. 1 3-point attempt for Dez. Tyus Y. That is a great 2 words to sum up how Tyus Jones played tonight. And honestly, for the first 10 games of the season, Tyus Y. I can't tell you. When are the tough questions coming in postgame? Mose is going to read the same script. That is a fantastic question. Mose has been frustrated, but I'm waiting to see when some actual tough questions are going to get asked and what those responses are going to be when we actually start seeing those tough questions, because he showed a little bit of frustration, but he hasn't showed the most frustration we saw from him is we need to sit down and defend. We need to sit down. Okay, now what? Now what, coach? We are sitting down, we are defending, and we're still not winning games. And we lose 111 to 107 to a team that we absolutely should have beaten tonight. We don't. Ask the tough questions. Let's get some more answers, and we need to start figuring some things out on the offensive side of the ball, because that's a coaching thing. Defensive side of the ball is primarily your players' effort. Offensive side of the ball is primarily coaching, drawing up sets, making sure that people are getting the ball when they need to be getting the ball, and I'm not seeing that happening right now, and I need something to happen for my mind to be changed on that. We lost any chance of winning this game when Suggs got inexplicably benched long enough to allow that huge run. I'm going to agree to disagree on this one. Mose was doing everything that he could. I don't love that he got benched when he did in the fourth quarter. I guess I can agree with you on that. But I think it's just he's still trying to manage his minutes. He's still trying to manage his injury maintenance. And yes, he hits that big 3. He hits that floater, and then coach is like, "Oh, I need to bench you for." Like, maybe you leave him, wait for him to at least miss a shot before you pull him out. You wait for him to get, 2 offensive possessions without him getting the ball before you pull him out. I don't know. Maddie, on a trip in Vegas at the moment, says, went to a bar in Vegas, asked them to turn the Magic game on. They laughed and trespassed me from the premises. That's how it feels down here in Southwest Florida, in Naples, when, I ask about the Magic game. They're like, Orlando has a basketball team? That's crazy. I didn't know about that. Let's see. This team going nowhere with Mosley at the helm. You have freaking Bane, and he shoots 1 3-pointer. I'm expecting a lot of comments here about Bane shooting 1 3 because, again, that's completely inexcusable. Kevin, Franz was horrible tonight. Yes, he was. This is one of the worst Franz games we've seen so far this year. He gets 20 points, but it's only mainly because he shot 9 of 10 from the free throw line. But he's 5 of 17 from the floor. It was not great, if we're being honest. So far, this is absolutely Matt seeming like a play-in team. I completely agree with you. So far, if we keep playing it the way we're playing and we don't figure out things on the offensive side of the ball, then yeah, we're not winning more than 42 to 44 games for sure. I'm Jovi. There's always a huge lid on the rim. The amount of threes that were like halfway down and then popped out was so frustrating. And I'm just sick and tired of being back to last year where it felt like, us hitting a three was just like the biggest thing in the world and the craziest thing in the world. And it's just so frustrating that we're back there because I didn't think we were going to be back there, but now we're back there again. You see it down on the ticker on the bottom, 7 for 30, 23% from three. And you needed one of them to go down, but I just think it was just so demoralizing when you miss every single one of those shots that you have an opportunity to make, and then you come right back down to the other side of the floor. You play relatively good defense for 16 to 19 seconds, and then these guys who are not career best three-point shooters, they're not 35, 40, 45% three-point shooters, are knocking down these huge threes because opposing teams have bench players that can make threes, and we just don't right now. Yasiel Gomez says Garza dominated the paint, going back to a comment we saw earlier about us not really having a center at the moment. Absolutely. Janine Richmond, faithful listener of the show, thanks for being here, Janine, says, can't have 17 turnovers combined with poor shooting and lack of effort from many of our guys and expect to win. There's a period of time from about 8 minutes until about 4.5 minutes in the fourth quarter where it just didn't seem like our players, we weren't out of it by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, we lost by 4 points, but our players just didn't seem like they cared about actually winning the basketball game. And it was really frustrating. So a couple other comments here. Let's see. We do have a lot more. Fire Mosley, fire Mosley, fire Mosley. Again, Yasiel Gomez saying Magic need a center. Another comment here. My big problem is Mosley. Why are we playing minutes without Franz, Banchero, and Bane right after our starters get off to such a strong start? That's another good point. Look, I'm not going to say fire Mosley right now. I just need to see something. And maybe I'm naive for that. Maybe I'm naive for saying, don't fire Mosley yet. I'm not quite there because we've given him a bunch of years, but we finally gave him the pieces. He finally has the pieces that he was supposedly had the excuse of just I don't have the pieces I need to make this team a competent offense. You do now, and you're still not a competent offense. So I do think the leash, every time we have a poor offensive performance and Bane shoots 1-3 like this, I do think the leash is getting shorter. And I do honestly think that we're getting to a point where if this offense, doesn't make some steps in the right direction over these next couple of games, we're going to start seeing some serious problems. Not really sure about your username, my guy. Sorry, I can't really pronounce that, but can't believe Walsh was the one to do it for them tonight. Again, coming back to the frustration of role players that shouldn't be hitting big threes for them and role players that should be hitting big threes for us. It's just the combination of that is just super frustrating. So I'm Jovi, so they don't miss, huh? Booyah8848 says, why the heck did we play Tyus all those minutes? TDS needs to have at least 25 minutes a game. When we don't have anyone else who can hit the broadside of a barn with a basketball, abso-freaking-lutely, TDS needs to be seeing, because TDS is shooting an insane clip from three right now. And if he's the only one on this team that can shoot three-pointers, including Desmond Bane apparently, put him in the game in these big moments. I don't know who you pull out. I don't know what you need to make happen, but TDS needs to be seeing more minutes in these big moments in the game because he's showing that he can hit three-pointers when it matters, and these other guys just aren't. Let's see. Ross Holder, number 1, says, turnovers absolutely killing us. We're going to get to the stat sheet, but they had 29 points off of our 17 turnovers tonight. It's not just the fact of the 17 turnovers, but it's the fact that they scored every time we turned the ball over. Just you knew the ball was going to go in. Terrible three-point shooting. Bane putting up barely any threes, rinse and repeat. That's how it's felt for the first 10 games, for sure. Absolutely. So let's see any other comments. Let's see. Another comment about what happened to Franz, bro. I don't know, but I'm not going to start complaining about Franz. Franz has been tremendous. Of any complaints you can have about this team so far this year, Franz is not going to be one of them because he's been fantastic. He was due for kind of a couple of bad games. Paolo has not been great with yes, he had a good stat line, but he had 6 turnovers tonight. Suggs finally had a good game, but other than tonight, he hasn't really been that good. Jordan Cruz, 94-97, another comment about Goga is useless. Absolutely. Another comment from Yasiel Gomez saying, Magic playing with no center. I don't see Carter and Goga as a center. Magic got to make a package trade. Absolutely. I wish Paolo was more aggressive at the beginning, not just in the fourth quarter, Seth Berry says. I completely agree. I think that there's a lot of foul baiting going on. He's got to clean up his handle. Luke Sylvia in the 6-man chat tonight was talking about that, and he was just like, man, it just feels like 50% of the time when he gets the ball in the post or gets the ball at the top of the key, he's losing the handle or It's because he doesn't feel confident in what he wants to do. Like, he doesn't know if he's passing out of his position or if he's going to turn and drive or if he's going to turn around and hit a shot. And because there's that lack of confidence, he just continuously turns the ball over because the defense is like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. Fine, I'm going to go get it. Or he'll dribble into pulling up and not knowing where he's going to go with the ball, and he throws the ball away. So Paolo has not been great, especially in terms of not turning the ball over in these past couple of games. So Pig Salmon, we'll talk about this for a second. There's no way Penda or Jace's minutes could be worse than Tyus. You need offensive spark. You drafted Jace Richardson to be an offensive spark off the bench for this team, and Tyus has been objectively horrible. We said at the beginning of the year that 8 to 10 games is not a small sample size anymore. 8 to 10 games is a decent sample size. You can't say, oh, it's just the third game of the season. Give it a little bit more time. Our offense needs help. Please. Jace Richardson was drafted to be that guy. So at least give him run, because I swear what he is doing and what he could bring to the team cannot possibly be worse than what Tyus Jones is doing on the court night in and night out. It is extremely frustrating, and we need to see more. I don't really know who you bring Noah Penda in for, because our forwards haven't actually been doing that poor of a job. TDS has been great. Franz has been great. Paolo has at least been decent. You're not going to give Noah Penda Paolo's minutes. But Jace for Tyus, absolutely. I am so sick of seeing Tyus Jones on the court every single night when Jace Richardson could be getting run. Absolutely. Moves with Mackey. Can you blame the turnovers on the coaching staff? No, I can't blame the turnovers on the coaching staff, but I can blame the coaching staff for the lack of sets that are being run, and you're forcing young players into positions where they have nowhere to go with the ball, because you're basically being like, just figure it out. You know, you're not drawing anything up for them, and you are expecting every single time these still relatively young players to come down the court and make the right decision with the basketball every single time in clutch minutes. And it is on you as a coaching staff to make sure that you are ensuring success as much as possible for these young players. And you're just not doing that. You need to drop more sets. Desmond needs to be getting the ball more often. I think that these players do need to be making more of the right decisions. But we saw in that first quarter, when there were sets being drawn up and specific plays that were being run, they were turning the ball over less because they knew where they were supposed to go with the basketball. And I think it is a combination of both. I still think the decision-making is on the players. I completely agree with you, Mackie. But the coaching staff still has to do some more if we want to be offensively proficient. And I think that a lack of turnovers, at least 5-6 less turnovers a game, will come with more sets on the offensive side of the ball. We'll just see if Mose is actually the one to do that. Luis Rosario, 95-22, says, once again, TDS proves he needs to get more minutes and even more starts. The second quarter of P5, Franz, TDS, Bain, Suggs was very productive today. Absolutely it was. TDS has been showing us that he is absolutely fantastic. Kevin Anton 420, another comment about Goga. Was Goga like a minus 8,000 tonight? Definitely felt like it from time to time. People swinging back and forth in the comments between fire Mose and how is this Mose's fault? Fire Mose. How is this not on Mose? How is this Mose's fault? I just need to see something different. And if he is incapable of bringing something different to the floor, then I think that we need to start having some uncomfortable conversations. And I'm not saying I know what those conversations need to be, or I know what the verdict of those conversations is already, but I just think that conversations deserve to be had. A lot of comments from Fire Mose from Jesus Cologne. I will give you props for the dedication to making your voice heard, for sure. And I know that there's a lot of people in this fan base that definitely vibe with how you're feeling right now, for sure. Let's see. A lot of comments about Wendell, a lot of comments about Tyus, a lot of comments about Mosley, a lot of comments about Goga being soft, Wendell being soft. Let's see. Another comment from Jordan Cruz says TDS should be out there for 30 minutes. Tyus is garbage. Give Jace his minutes. From Vibrant Star 2879. Paolo needs to learn how to box out. Gave Garza that putback at the end. When Wendell was doing everything he could to shut down Jaylen Brown in that situation, and you force exactly the shot, and it was a big defensive possession from Wendell. We've been crapping on Wendell a lot tonight. Let's give him flowers when he deserves it. He made a big stop defensively. He stayed in front of Jaylen Brown. He forced a really difficult shot. If you are some of the other guys, you have to understand Wendell is in a mismatch against Jaylen Brown, which means the center that Wendell is supposed to be guarding is somewhere else on the court, and he is unaccounted for defensively. which means you need to find him, especially Paolo as the number 4, as the power forward, who's the second biggest bodied guy out there. You need to find him. You need to box him out. You need to stop ball watching. And there's a lot of ball watching going on. And it was almost just like, oh, sweet, we got Jaylen Brown in an ISO. Let's just hope he misses, right? There's more in the game going on than just hoping a player misses and then hoping to grab the rebound. There has to be work that's done on your end. And I saw a lot of lackluster effort in terms of missed shots and not boxing out when boxing out needed to be done. Okay. A lot of comments crossing over about similar things. Icarus Wrath, let's shift to something a little bit more positive. Let's chill. We're adjusting better with pace. We lost to a very capable Celtics team in a league where it is rare to win back-to-back against any same team. We're fine. I appreciate the positivity. Appreciate the vibes you bring into the conversation, Icarus. Thank you so much for that. I agree. I came into tonight, if we were going to win or loss, talking about the fact that over the last 4 games, yes, I'm aware that it was against Washington, it was against Charlotte, it was against Atlanta, and then it was against a depleted Boston team. But over the last couple of games before tonight, I haven't done the numbers, but coming into tonight's game, we were, I think, top 7, either top 5 defensively, top 7 offensively, or top 7 defensively, top 5 offensively. There have been an improvement in numbers. We are seeing an improvement in the right direction, and over the last 4 games, being top 7 in both defensive rating and offensive rating, I think we were 18th in pace. So that's what we've all kind of been saying, is this team doesn't necessarily need to play with a ton of pace. We just need to defend and then figure things out. But then also, I mean, we defended tonight, and we were playing with pace in the first quarter. You score 35 points, I think, in that first quarter. 33 points in that first quarter, and then you only end the game with 107 after being on pace for 120 plus. So there's definitely, like I said at the beginning, some positivity to take from this for sure. So we are going to go ahead and switch over real quick. Let me get to Maddie's comment here. He said, Magic have looked better the last couple games. That being said, sky is falling, panic mode. Definitely feels that way from time to time. We definitely find a lot of the negatives. There have been a lot more positives. That being said, a 4-6 start is not the start to the season that we were expecting. And Nick Monks, before we get over to the box score, says, nice to know that Bane shot 1 3-pointer. Definitely worth the money. Just a little bit of sarcasm there, Nick Monks. Just a little bit of sarcasm there. But let's go ahead and switch over to the box score here. There we go. So not the box score quite yet, but we do have the just overall numbers here. Again, you outscore Boston 33-30 in that first quarter, and then you just that fourth quarter being outscored 33-27 with those 3 huge 3-pointers down the stretch is just absolutely rough. You really kind of keep them out of the paint. Only 42 points in the paint, but I mean Boston has Keita and Garza as their bigs. You were going to hope that they weren't going to have a lot of points there. Not a ton of fast break points, but this is really the number that kills you here. It's the 29 points off of turnovers. Again, you turn the ball over 17 times. They score 29 points off of those 17 turnovers, and that's just not a recipe for success. Let's look over here at the box score. The first thing to point out here at the box score is that Franz Wagner was objectively terrible tonight, other than at the free throw line. Shot 5 of 17 from the field, just didn't have his touch at the rim, which was really frustrating. 1 of 4 from 3, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. Did have 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, turned the ball over twice, and he was a +4. But 5 of 17 just kind of seemed like he really was trying to force it and get himself going, but he just didn't have his touch. But I mean, no one else really had a shooting touch either. So if you're Franz, who else are you supposed to go to with the ball? Paolo, decent game, couple threes. I didn't actually hate his 3-point selection tonight. They just weren't dropping for him. 0 of 5. I don't know what happened on that 3 from the top of the arc when he missed it like 3 feet to the left and it like barely hit the backboard. It was one of the most atrocious misses I've ever seen in my entire life. You love to see Paolo shooting 10 of 10 from the free throw line. 6 rebounds, 4 assists, but 6 turnovers and 5 fouls. The 6 turnovers were extremely rough, and then the 5 fouls, you kind of force yourself to play maybe not as physical as you'd like to play, maybe led to a couple of situations where he allowed some putbacks or something on the defensive end that you would have liked to see a little bit of a better job. Wendell, 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, missed some big 3-pointers down the stretch. Another couple big numbers to point out here are Jalen Suggs finally had a really, really good night. He was 6 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. It's great to see him getting back into a rhythm. I'm really excited to see what Jalen can bring the team, actually being back into playing maybe 25, 30, 32 minutes a night. You do see him play 28 minutes, 39 seconds tonight, which is easily the most that we've seen so far from him, I believe. But let's talk about the two eyesores here, and that is Anthony Black, who was 2 of 7 from the floor. 0 of 4 from 3. He only had 4 points. He had 4 fouls, a turnover, 0 blocks. He had a steal. He had 3 rebounds. But Anthony Black tonight, in a 4-point loss, was a minus 25 from the floor. Minus 25 in less than 20 minutes. He was objectively, I know that plus minus is not always the best stat because sometimes it's the rotations that you're a part of and who's on the floor with the opposition against who you have on the floor, whatever. Minus 25 is absurd. That's really, really bad. And then another night from Tyus Jones where Tyus Jones saw 10 minutes from the floor. He didn't shoot a single shot, didn't shoot a single three. He was parked in the corner for the most part on almost every single offensive possession. He got 2 assists, 1 turnover, and was a minus 14 from the floor. As far as I'm concerned, that is unacceptable. I still don't really understand. Again, I am going to be baffled from what we've seen from Tyus Jones, and actually the lack of anything that we've seen from Tyus Jones. We haven't seen anything from Tyus Jones. I don't know why he's still getting minutes, and I don't know why we can't get Jace some minutes over Tyus Jones at this point because of how bad he has been. Let's go ahead and get back to a couple more comments here from the chat. Defense failed. This was not a game that you lost on the defensive side of the ball. You hold the Celtics team with some really, really good scorers to 111 points. That's a very decent night. That's including the fact that Anthony Simons turned into like prime Damian Lillard in the second quarter there. You take out that stretch and you borderline hold the Celtics to under 100 points in this game. The defense was not the problem. Yes, you could say we didn't have proper rotations on the back half at the end of the game and we allowed those 3-pointers. Wendell went under the screen and allowed Jaylen Brown to hit that shot at the top. But for the most part, it was just you're going to live with the guys who hit those shots, hitting those shots at the end of that game tonight. It was not a defensive issue tonight. Time Mr. TV says 7 of 30 from 3 was absolutely a problem. Another comment here. Can we talk about the rotations? Yes. You're not the first person to bring this up tonight. NES Escobar 2239. There's no reason why you need to have extended minutes on the court without either Paolo, Franz, or Bane. You now have a big 3, essentially, right, with how Desmond's been playing, which he wasn't bad tonight, right, but with how he's been playing, you consider him still a part of your big 3. There's no reason why you should have extended minutes without one of those 3 guys on the court. You almost never see any other team do that. Tonight, as far as I'm concerned, every single minute on the court, I can't remember a time where either Jaylen Brown or Derek White or Anthony Simons was on the court tonight for them. I know that's a weak big 3 for the Celtics as far as they're considered, but that's still those are their 3 best, especially on the offensive side of the ball, their 3 best offensive players. And at every single point in the game, to my knowledge and to my recollection, at least one of those 3 guys was on the court. If you're the Magic, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing that. There's no reason why any minutes need to go by. 0 minutes. There's no reason why any minutes need to go by without one of those 3 guys on the court. You start the game with 8 minutes of all 3 of those guys on the court, and you end the game with 8 minutes with those guys on the court. And then the 32 minutes in between, you stagger. You have at least one of them, if not 2 of them, on the court at every single point in time. And you can still get the players the rest that they need. It's another complaint I see a lot of people bringing up about Jamal, and it is a very, very, very valid complaint for sure. Janine Richmond, another comment about Goga, definitely does not look engaged. Pissed off Magic fan says, my buddy and I were talking the other day, would love a Gay or Keita over Goga. Dude is bad and not a backup center. Man, it's frustrating because I look at how hard these guys play off the bench for some of these other teams. Gay from Atlanta when we played them the other night, and Keita tonight for Boston. And you see how hard they play. And it just, you see all these other backup centers from around the league, and you wonder why Goga can't play with that same energy. Because when he does, he's on par with guys like Keita and with Gay. And that's what's so freaking frustrating about it. Is like when he cares, he is great. But for some reason, there's just these long stretches of time and these whole games that go by where he just doesn't seem to care about playing winning basketball. And I don't understand why. I don't get it. Is it an ego thing? Because again, like when we put him in as a starting center, he's fantastic. But then when Wendell's playing, When Mo is playing, and he's the backup, he's like, I don't want to be a backup. I'm better than show us you're better than being a backup, because right now you're not even a third stringer. You don't even deserve to be on an NBA roster if you're going to play the way that you played tonight. Luis Rosario, if you don't think that Mike Malone or Tibbs could make this team better, you're not paying attention to the facts. Mosley is way out of his league with this much talent. I, for the record, never said that. I am just not on we absolutely need to fire Mose right now. If you could tell me right now that letting Mose go from this team guaranteed us either Mike Malone or Thibodeau, then I would be like, yes, because I think that those two coaches have shown more. They are less player coaches, yes, but they have shown more in terms of being able to unlock talent on a roster on the defensive and offensive side of the ball than Mose has. And he's been a fantastic player coach. He's been a fantastic developmental coach, but he has not been great at unlocking the talent on the offensive side of the ball. And I need to see more from that, because if we want to compete for a championship, then we need to be able to unlock the talent that Paolo, Franz, Desmond Bane, and Jalen Suggs, those four players together, should be able to bring on an offensive side of the ball. I completely agree with you, though, that Mike Malone and Tibbs would make this team better. I just don't believe that firing Mosley would guarantee us bringing in Mike Malone or Tibbs, especially mid-season. Those typically tend to not be, other than maybe Doc Rivers for Milwaukee the other year, if I'm not mistaken, those tend to not be moves that are made in the middle of the season. Those tend to be off-season moves. And so I think that Mose would be preferable to any of the assistant coaches that we have right now, I think. But I definitely think that Mike Malone or Thibs would make this team better in terms of unlocking talent, for sure. Craig Brown 6651 says P5 is a crybaby. Body language, lack of leadership so far. When he's not dominating and he's not doing great, it just doesn't seem like he has the leadership that we need from him. A lot of more comments about Paolo's body language, lack of leadership. Jonathan would love this comment. We want Evan Fournier out of retirement. Someone clip this and send it to Jonathan on Twitter, because I think that we could get this in a segment on the 6-Man Show tomorrow. I need someone to hop on that, please, because you guys know Jonathan will talk about it ad nauseum. The Only Hero 2714 says Mose will not get fired in the middle of the season, but this needs to be his last year. Bad rotation, zero offensive play calling, bad timeout. We will not be a real contender with him as the coach. 10 games in, that's the direction I'm leaning. And I need to see a lot more from him before I change my mind. Let's get a couple more positive comments in here before we head to the standings and the scores from tonight. Suggs is the love of my life, though. He was great tonight. Yes, he was. Absolutely. Let's see. Another comment from Blue Jay. Play Jace instead of Tyus. A lot of these comments are just repeating a lot of the same stuff. That's why I'm kind of moving past some of these. Let's see. Tyler Morrison says, I believe in Coach Mose, but Desmond Bane only taking one 3-point shot can only be blamed on the coaching unless Dez was trying to pull a Kobe. They're guarding Dez really, really tough and really, really close. They're not giving him a ton of looks, but whenever he does have looks, it looks like he's not taking them, which is his responsibility. But then and a lot of comments tonight have said this, doesn't seem like we are doing anything to try to get him the ball on the offensive side of the ball. We're not running any sets for him. We're not trying to get him open. It just doesn't seem like we're doing much to try to unlock him on the offensive side of the ball, and it's extremely, extremely, extremely frustrating. Vito Corleone says, we are okay. Because, yes, 4-6 is better than the 1-9 that it felt like we were going to be this time last week. So, let's see. Kevin says Buccaneers and the Magic lost today. Yes, as a Bucs fan as well, this was a rough day for me. And I know he's probably not watching, but my friend Eli, best friend who I've been best friends with for over 10 years, is from Boston, which we've never seen eye to eye about, and I will always hate him for. He is rejoicing a little bit today, and I'm surprised I haven't gotten a taunting text from him yet, because he beat me twice today on 2 different sports. So let's go ahead and go over here. We're going to look at the standings, unfortunately. We do have to check this out. Let's refresh this and see what we are looking at so far tonight. The Orlando Magic fall officially out of the play-in through the first 10 games of the year. We are 4-6. We are 3.5 games out of first place behind the first-place Detroit Pistons, who are 7-2. Cade Cunningham is playing like an absolute monster right now. Cleveland looks like they're figuring a couple things out. They're in second place at 7-3. But other than that, you're only 2.5 games out of third place, where you got New York at 6-3, Chicago at 6-3, Philly at 6-3. It's not like you're in 15th. It's not like you're 1-9. It's not like you're already Brooklyn or Indy or Washington. You're already 6 games out of first place. We have seen improvement in the right direction, and I don't think that, the 2.5 games that it would take us to get back up to the 3rd seed, if we can keep figuring things out and figure out what we need to do offensively, I still think we can turn things around. I just don't exactly know how that offensive turnaround is going to happen, so we'll see what ends up looking there. Scores for tonight. The first place in the Eastern Conference, Detroit Pistons, are tied with the 76ers 81-81. Obviously, the Celtics take down the Magic 111-107. The Pacers kicked off a game against the Warriors. They were in the second quarter 29-25. Timberwolves and Kings 16-16. Watched most of this game before the Magic game tonight. Giannis is looking insane. He's looking like he wants an MVP really, really, really bad this year. But his efforts were not enough to overtake Kevin Durant and the Rockets, as the Rockets take down the Bucks 122-115. The Knicks, as they probably should, absolutely demolish the Brooklyn Nets 134-98. And the Thunder continue their hot start with a 114-100 win over the Grizzlies. Not a ton of surprising things going on here tonight. Nothing crazy, no big upsets. Honestly, probably the biggest upset so far would be the Celtics over the Magic, but with how the Magic have been playing, I wouldn't necessarily know. So I'll probably end up catching the back quarter of this Pistons 76ers game when I hop off the live stream here in a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and do one last brush through the comments to see if there's anything of note. Janine Richmond says, any idea if Suggs will be able to play tomorrow? I'm not sure. With the fact that he played almost 29 minutes tonight, I would expect him to sit, considering he's been sitting the back half of back-to-backs so far this season. If he was planning on prioritizing him playing in back-to-back games, I would have expected more of like a 15 to 20-minute game tonight and then a 15 to 20-minute game tomorrow. But the fact that Mose seemingly pushed him really, really hard, knowing how big of a game it was against Boston, and the fact that he seemed to get a little banged up tonight, I would probably put my personal percentages as maybe a 10 to 15% chance that Jalen plays tomorrow. I would not put money on it whatsoever. Again, another comment, walk the dog. Jalen had a nice night. Really like how he's playing. He was pretty much single-handedly the reason that Anthony Simons got shut down in the back half of that second quarter into the third. He went on fire, and then Coach Moses basically like, you are going to stick to Anthony Simons like glue and not let go. And he did that. And Jalen really slowed him down. He did a great job there. Let's see. Vladimir says, tie us to the G League. Absolutely. I really don't want to see him on this roster anymore. So, Isaac is being traded. Isaac's not getting playtime, so I would be shocked if we don't move him for something instead of just sitting uselessly on our bench. Trade Isaac for LaRavia. Not going to lie, I don't think there's any world where they're going to take Jonathan Isaac for LaRavia with the way LaRavia has been playing and the way that Isaac has been playing and the lack of minutes. Isaac has like no minutes this year. So Isaac right now, his trade value is nothing. So I would agree trade J.I. As much as I love J.I., the problem is you have to have some trade value in order to be worth trading, and right now he doesn't have that. So let's see. I think that's pretty much it. A lot of comments kind of echoing a lot of the same stuff. Frustrations with center, frustrations with Paolo's body language, frustrations with coaching. A lot going on. So another frustrating one, guys. I'm hoping this doesn't turn into a situation where I end up becoming the Maddie of this year and I end up not getting to do a ton of these wins. Rocket was actually extremely excited to come out tonight and say hi. So hopefully y'all will get to see him on Wednesday evening against the Knicks. But thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. This has been the Six-Man Show Postgame Live presented by Thrivent and Marc.Abraham. We know it wasn't the result that we were looking for, but always appreciate getting on here and talking over the games with you guys. Always appreciate your guys' input, your guys' comments, what you guys have to say, frustrations, positivity, whatever it happens to be. So we are going to run this back again tomorrow evening. I believe it is going to be Kevin on the post game tomorrow night against the Blazers. So hopefully we pull a Charlotte game from this past week. We didn't have a great game. I would say that this game was a lot better than the game we played against Detroit, but we didn't have a great game against Detroit. We turned it back around. We figured it out the next night, and that was an away 2-game series. So let's hope that we show back up, even though Portland has had our number in the last couple of years. Let's hope that we show up tomorrow night and we play the game that we know this team can play. My name has been Sam. I appreciate you guys for joining us. Check it out. There is going to be a new episode of the Six Man Show available first thing in the morning because it is going to be Monday. Jonathan and Kev are going to talk about tonight's game, some frustration, some positivity all over the board. Check that out. Hit them up on Twitter. Hit them up on Instagram. Let them know about your thoughts, your comments, your concerns about this team. And until then, I will see you guys next time. Let's go Magic.